This week's fundamental is be easy to work with. Find ways to make working with you or us easier. Provide simple and complete instructions. When in doubt, do more for others rather than pushing the work back to them. Streamline our processes, simplify everything, and be ridiculously helpful. I have to tell you, if this isn't my most favorite fundamental, it's certainly in my top 3. Working with money and financial services is not easy for most people. Most people struggle to make and stick to a budget or even understand basic finances. So we shouldn't be surprised that they really don't understand how trusts work. Our business is incredibly complex. Even most financial advisors who understand investments and the stock market shy away from the subject of trusts because it is so complicated. And if your family is like mine, they have no idea what you do for a living, even though you've explained it a dozen times. Regardless, it is human nature to take the path of least resistance, especially when working with a company that is a real specialty or niche business. Research confirms that being easy to work with is the single biggest factor that drives customer loyalty in a service business. And if you are frequently frustrated with a company, it is the biggest factor that drives you to look at competitors. And our competition is increasing rapidly. There are more advisor-friendly trust companies that have a similar business model to ours than ever before. And many of them are allowing custody at LPL, so our home field advantage is dwindling. Here are a few things to think about to be easy to work with. First, eliminate jargon and acronyms. We all understand what acronyms like CRT, MWP, CIP, or RMD mean, but the rest of the world doesn't. Speak in plain and simple English. Advisors and clients often feel completely ignorant when speaking to professionals in this business. If we can't talk about our services in a few concise sentences in a simple way, they will avoid engaging in this business. Next, err on the side of handling as much as we can for others. Pre-populating forms, talking directly with a prospective client rather than asking an advisor to translate it for us, handling asset retitling, or just talking to a challenging beneficiary are all things that can help make us easy for advisors to work with. Here's an example. We often put contingencies on accepting new accounts to help protect ourselves, like petitioning a court, finding an attorney, or modifying the trust language. Those contingencies sound like monumental hurdles to an advisor, and they have no idea where to even begin. In most cases, though, we have easy access to attorneys. We have a sense of navigating the courts and can shepherd the process much more easily than they can, and still balance our liability. Next, explain the why. It's helpful to explain why things happen a certain way, or why we follow certain procedures, request certain documentation, or ask for family involvement. Policies and procedures always have a solid reason behind them, and they almost always exist to protect the client, not just us. For example, clients often call complaining that they have not received their 1099 and we are past the deadline for mailing them. They don't understand that 1099s are issued for accounts titled in their individual name, but the trusts are not in their individual name. They are separate tax-paying entities that issue K-1s under a totally different deadline. Here's another example. I've told countless advisors with insurance trusts or trusts with illiquid assets why they should want a trust advisor engaged on the account. Yes, we can hire a third party or an agent to do all the due diligence, but having a directed trust or a trust advisor directing us puts the power back in the hands of the family. If they never want the family farm to be sold, then why would they want a corporate trustee in control? We often need to provide context and highlight the benefits to them, not just leave it as, well, this is our policy. Lastly, speak at the right altitude. When we have a deep knowledge of a subject, we have a tendency to share all in one sitting. Most people can only absorb so much new information at once, particularly when it's complex. Keep your discussions at a high enough level to give them a summary in bite-sized pieces. Most people don't need to know how the sausage is made in detail. For those that want to know more, they will keep asking questions. And don't be surprised if you need to repeat something if they don't retain it. Educating others is a long-term process. So there are a million ways that we can be easier to work with, not only for our advisors and clients, but for our internal team members as well. Find a way to be easier to work with this week and share it with the group.